Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's tutorial we are going to be learning how to cut and sew a bubu with a front slit and a side pocket. If this is a video you're interested in, please keep on watching and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. So for the drafting of this style that we have, I'm going to be making use of this Ankara. I have 3 yards of Ankara here, and for the slit and the side pocket I'll be making use of this velvet material. Now for the velvet material, if you have a crepe, it will be good to substitute for it a crepe or a satin, but the person I'm making it for insisted on using a velvet for it, so I've been using a velvet for this style. So let's get down to the drafting. The first thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to fold my fabric from the wrong side into 2 equal parts, making sure that the open edges, this edge is facing this other edge. So I'll just go ahead and fold it this way. So after folding this fabric this way, making sure that these edges are matching with the other, you will have this folded part at the tip. So from this folded part that we have here at the tip, I'm just going to go ahead and refold it this way. As you can see, I'll refold it this way into 2, making it 4 in total. And with this pattern of folding, you can actually get the length that you want to work with your Ankara. So basically, after I was done folding it, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to input the measurement that we'll be working with. So the first thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to draw a straight line at the tip of this fabric that will be serving as our starting line and our shoulder line. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and divide my shoulder measurement into 2. Now the shoulder measurement that I'm working with is shoulder 16 inches. So 16 inches, the measurement that I'm taking is from the folded edge. So 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 8 inches here. For the neck width, I'll be working with 3 inches. And for the depth, I'll be working with 2 inches. Remember, we are cutting the back piece and the front piece together. So I'll just go ahead and connect this neck area. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to get my sleeve length. Now the sleeve length that I'm working with is 12 inches. So from this shoulder measurement that we got earlier, I'll go ahead and measure in 12 inches all the way down. Now for the round sleeve measurement that I'm working with, I'll take the measurement at this tip that I already marked my sleeve. But before that, we'll go ahead and come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope. So with this 1 inch now, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it all the way down to our neck area. So after that, I'm going to start from this 1 inch that I have here to determine the round sleeve measurement that I'm working with. So I don't want it to be too big. So basically for me, I'll be working with 10 inches. So from this 1 inch that we marked from our shoulder slope, I'll go ahead and mark down 10 inches. So connecting this line all the way to this one we have here. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead from this shoulder line that we have here. I'll mark my bust point. The bust point that I'm working with is 10 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark the 10 inches. Now I'll divide my round hip measurement. The round hip measurement is the biggest part. So I'll divide my round hip measurement into 4. My round hip measurement is 42 inches. 42 inches divided by 4 is 10.5. So at this bust point area, I will mark 10.5, and I'll be adding extra 3 inches for ease. Now, if you want your boo to be a little bit bigger, you can choose to add extra more inches. So for me, I'll just add 3 inches. So after that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is from this round sleeve measurement that we got earlier, I'm going to go ahead and connect it all the way to this body measurement that we imputed here. Just like you see me doing. After that, I'll just go ahead and extend it all the way down to our full length. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. Cutting this out, this is what it's looking like. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to open up this fabric. Placing it this way, I'm just going to go ahead and use about half of an inch to join the shoulders area only first. So after I went ahead to join the shoulders with about half of an inch, this is what it's looking like. Now the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to pick the neck area. I'm just going to go ahead and open this up. Now opening this up this way, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that it is equal, that I'm folding each side together. So basically, after opening it up, the neck area should be looking like a C, just like you see over here. So after that, remember that the neck areas are the same thing, so we don't have a front and a back yet. So after opening this up, you can actually choose to use any other side, any side here, to actually replace your front piece or to serve as your back piece. So after that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is from this neck area, I'll go in and measure 3 inches from this neck area. So I'm choosing this side to be serving as my front piece. So from this neck area, I'll mark 3 inches here. So these 3 inches, I'm just going to go ahead and mark it all the way down to the end of this fabric. Done marking down the 3 inches, this is what is looking like. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my scissors to cut this out. Now starting from this point that I have here already, I'm just going to cut it all the way down to the end of this fabric. So after cutting this out, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to open this up. So opening this up, this is what it is looking like. This is now our front piece and the other side is the back piece. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to go ahead and stitch down the sides of this fabric with about half of an inch, and also fold the sleeve area with about half of an inch. So after basically joining the sides and the shoulder and also folding the sleeve area with about half of an inch, I'm just going to go ahead and turn this over to the right side. So after turning it over to the right side, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the pocket for this dress. Now basically for the pocket, I'm going to be making use of the exact fabric, and the length of this pocket will be 9 inches. So I'll go ahead and straighten the line, and I want the width to be 7.5 inches, which is exactly what is giving me. and that is perfect. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. After cutting it out, I'll use it to cut out the other pocket, because the pocket is two in total, one for the other side, one for the other side. So after cutting out this pocket, I'm going to go ahead and keep this aside. Now remember, this pocket has the velvet material, or whatever material you're substituting for it, on top of the pocket. So for me, I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this piece of velvet. I want the width to be about 1.5 inch on fold, because I'll be sewing with half of an inch and I'll be left with 1 inch. So I'll just go ahead and make sure that it's 1.5 inch, and that is exactly what I have here. So I'll go ahead and make sure that the width is exactly what I have in my pocket. So I'll go ahead and trim this off to make it exact. Now for placing of this, I'm just going to remove one piece. Now before we place this pocket on our fabric, we'll make sure that we iron the sides down to be able to get a neat stitch. So after ironing it down, you might want to now place the black band on top of your pocket, but for me, I don't think I'll be doing the ironing because the folding is quite easier for me. So I'll just go ahead and place my band on top of it like that. So placing it, I'll have about half of an inch to fold it. Now the open edge should be facing right side, the upper area. So after sewing this up, basically it should be looking something like this. So this is exactly what it should be looking like after placing it. So I'll just go ahead and do the same thing for the other sides too. So after I was done sewing the velvet piece on top of my pocket, I'm just going to go over and place this aside and bring my main fabric to the table. Now after doing so, I'll just make sure that each side is actually sitting perfectly to the other side to avoid any form of mistake. So I'll just go ahead and arrange this piece. So after arranging this, I'm just going to go ahead and place my tape on the shoulder area and go down by 17 inches, because that's where we'll be placing our pocket. So I'll go ahead and mark it down. Now from the open front edge that we have, I'll be going in by 2 inches. So I'll be going in by 2 inches. Remember, we are still going to attach a band to it, so we wouldn't want it to be closer to the band. So I'll go ahead and mark the 2 inches. Now from the 17 inches that we marked earlier, that's where I'll go ahead and place the tip of my pocket. And also at that 2 inches, I'll just make sure that the lines are sitting perfectly. Now after that, I'm just going to fold in the sides of this pocket and stitch it down all the way down to this fabric. Now while sewing, remember to sew it only to the front piece. That's, you'll be opening your fabric over, not to sew it directly back to the back piece. So I'll use about half of an inch to sew it, and also do the same thing for the other side. So after I went ahead to attach the pocket, just like I told you earlier, so this is what it is looking like on our fabric, and this is what the other side is looking like. Now the next thing we are going to go ahead and do now is to cut out the band for this dress. So bringing out the pieces that we cut out from our front piece, remember that it was 3 inches. So remember that we had to cut out 3 inches from this front piece. Now I'm just going to go ahead and measure around my fabric. This is the front piece. Now from this opening edge, I'm just going to go ahead and measure it all the way down to the neck, from the neck again all the way down to the other side. Now any measurement that I get is the number of band length that I'll be cutting. Now the width of the band remains 3 inches constant, because the front piece we cut out was 3 inches. I went ahead to cut out the rope. After I measured my fabric from the hem of the dress to the other side, I got about 135 inches. So I went ahead to cut it out. As you can see how long it is looking. Now, since I'm working with a velvet material and the sides are always closing, just like you see, if you have an stay, if you're working with a velvet, you can choose to go ahead and apply an stay all the way down to the end of this band to make it firm. But for me, I'm used to working with velvet. I'll just go ahead and work with it. As you can see, I also did a joining to actually achieve the full length that I work. Then after that, I'm just going to go ahead and turn this over to the wrong side, making sure that it is equal. So I'll turn this over to the wrong side. After turning this over to the wrong side, I'm just going to go ahead and measure around my neck area. That's how down I want the neck area to be. Now, while measuring, just make sure that it is an inches that can actually pass through your neck area. I don't know if you understand. So for me, I think I'll be doing 24 inches. So any measurement you get from your round neck, you go ahead and divide it into two. So for me, I'm doing 24 inches. 24 inches divided by 2 is 12. So from this folded edge that I have here, I'm just going to go ahead and measure down 12 down to this place. But for me, I think 12 was a little bit too much. So let me go ahead and mark 11 instead of 12. That means I was doing 33 inches. So after marking this point, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is determine where I want my slit to stop. Now for me, I want the slit to actually stop at 37 inches. So from this point that we marked our neck area, we'll go ahead and mark 37 inches. So this is where 37 inches lied. So I'm just going to go ahead. The 7 inches is a little bit too up. So I'll just do 35. I'll do 35 inches instead. So I'll go ahead and mark 35 here. So basically, this is where our slit will stop and our neck area is starting from here. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to, from this point, remember that this fabric is 6 inches without it being on fold. While it's on fold, is 3 inches. So from this 12 inches that I marked here, that was my neck area, I'm just going to go ahead and get the center point of this fabric. Now remember, it's 6 inches, so the center point is going to be 3 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 3 inches all the way to the slit measurement that I had earlier. Marking down the 3 inches, just like you see over here, I'm just going to go over to my sewing machine and make sure that I stitch from this slit area all the way to this neck area. Stitching down the center part, just like I told you earlier, this is what it is looking like. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to turn this over. So turning it over, this is what it should be looking like. I don't know if you can see. Now this is the neck area and it's open. Now for the slit part, this is what it's also looking like. So we've done our neck and our sleeve. The next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to attach it to the main fabric. So before we attach this piece to our fabric, we are going to go ahead and get the center of our neck area at the back. So you can just go ahead and fold it this way, making sure that the shoulder joints are facing each other. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it. Make sure you notch it so as to know where the center part is starting from. So after notching it, I'll also go ahead and find the center part of this band that we have here. So I'll also go ahead and notch it and notch the center. That's at the neck area. I'll go ahead and notch it. Now, after notching it, just like the way you attach a band to your kimono, that is the same way we are going to go ahead and be attaching our band to this dress. Now, for this attachment, this open edge will be facing inside the wrong side of our dress. So remember, this is the center of this band that we notched earlier. So we are just going to go ahead and place this place that is open, the center, at the center of this back area. I don't know if you can see. So after placing it, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do is to use about half of an inch from this center part. We use about half of an inch to sew it all the way down to the end of the fabric. Then after that, we'll come over to this side too, place it this way and sew it with about half of an inch all the way down to the fabric. Basically, after I finished joining the neckband, this is what it is looking like. So this is what it's looking like, as you can see. So this is basically the end of this tutorial. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. See you in our next video. Bye.